Hello and welcome to the 15th episode of SteamLUG Cast. My name is Cheese, and with me I have Mim.
Good morning.
And DerRidda.
Good evening.
And we're recording this on the 14th of December for me over here in UTC plus 10. And how are you guys this morning? Or this evening for you, DerRidda?
I am doing fine. Had a very cold hot dog today, but I'm doing excellent. And you?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Pretty good. Hanging in there. You know, I got me some toast and I'm ready to talk about stuff.
Hooray! Alright, so we might whiz through our recent and upcoming events. We had a Nuclear Dawn bug hunt event following our last SteamLUG Cast episode, for which our special guest Nicholas Hastings, Interwave developer and porter of Nuclear Dawn, hung around and played with us for a while, blew a lot of us up. It was good. What did you guys think of that event?
I think it wasn't so much of a bug hunt as it was people having fun, which is excellent. It was a very popular event. Lots of people showed up.
You had about 30, I think.
And I don't think we found anything significant, did we?
No, nothing that really felt like it was specific to the Linux build. I think there may have been a couple of missing textures, like that visor texture, but yeah, other than that, it was pretty solid. And following that, we had a Hammerwatch event, which you were at, weren't you, DerRidda?
Yeah, I read it. I played with Hero and a number in his name. Yeah, he's here, Hero 1900. Hello.
Hooray!
So, yeah, and we had a lot of fun, even though he stole all my lives by running into these spikes all the time.
It's a pretty cool game. Nemoda and I played for a disgusting number of hours. I think it was 5 a.m. for him by the time that the event finished. By the time he decided he'd had enough. And we got up to I think it was the final stage thing. But we just couldn't keep going. We've been doing it for too long. But what a fun game!
Yeah, I didn't expect as much from it, but it is extremely fun. If you liked Gauntlet back in the day, you should still pick it up. I will advocate for your fun.
I love how some of the bonus levels are kind of retro and have a really specifically Gauntlet feel.
I didn't even play that much. I think you're ahead of me there.
Well, something to look out for. We also had a Dota 2 event, which I didn't make, so I can't really talk about it. We had a Team Fortress 2 man versus man event, which was slightly hampered by a bug which caused the game to crash on victory. But Valve managed to fix that halfway through our event, so we updated our servers and continued playing. I think we went for about 3, maybe 4 hours all up, and everyone had a lot of fun on the new man versus man maps.
Man versus man?
Man versus Machine. Wow.
Sorry, that's probably my fault, because, yeah. I always say man on man, but really it's the only type of TF2
That sounds excellently homoerotic, but I approve.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dear me. We also had a Forced event. We didn't have a big turnout, but we had a bit of fun. The game certainly scales up and becomes a lot more challenging once you've got a whole stack of people in there. Especially if they're people you haven't played before with, because a game, being a puzzle game, does kind of rely heavily on being able to communicate what it is you're doing, and it does get a bit hectic, but heaps of fun.
Yeah, goodness, I can't even deal with it when it's just me and Cheeseness and we're in the same room. I can actually talk to him and be like, don't steal the little ball guy all the time, but yeah, goodness, I can't imagine with... How many people can you have in a server at once? Or in a game at once? Is it 4?
Yeah.
Goodness, hectic. Well done.
They could have done that thing where they, instead of force, they write it with a 4 and CED, because that's what everybody does these days.
No.
But yeah, that was good fun. I would recommend checking out that game for anybody who's interested in it, having a kind of hack and slash puzzle hybrid. And then most recently, as far as events go, Swordfisher did a big, super long Secret of the Magic Crystals stream.
I can't believe I missed that.
I got up at, I think it was 3:30 or something in the morning to watch that, and it was aside from some streaming difficulties, it was pretty funny to watch Swordfisher ramble on about his horses and get cranky at them when they wouldn't stop being sick.
Is that saved somewhere? Can I watch it later at my leisure?
Yeah, I think the archive is still up on Twitch. We'll get that saved and available at some point. We might do a highlights video and push it up to YouTube.
Beautiful.
And then get instantly claimed by copyright holders.
I think would be pretty good. So as far as upcoming events go, we've got a No More Room in Hell event coming up tomorrow at about this time or a little bit later, which should be fun. That's a free mod that people can download, sort of zombie survival thing. You've played it a bit, DerRidda. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's actually quite excellent. It's a hard game, especially if you play the objective maps, but it's really fun to play together. You have to coordinate, and you die really easily. It is not forgiving, but it is fun for those people who like a challenge in their zombie game and don't want to feel like they are that powerhouse that is conveniently immune and just mows down zombies are left for that. This is classic zombies. Infect you, you die, you're dead. And then a zombie.
Right. We also had a Worms Reloaded event.
No, we have a Worms Reloaded event coming up.
Oh, sorry, yes, yes. Which should be heaps of fun.
Yeah.
Following that, we have Counter-Strike Source, and Swordfisher has said that he might do another Secret of the Magic Crystals event. Now, he did ask if we could mention the special Secret of the Magic Crystals horsey jingle thing that he had someone make up for him to play during the stream, which I can't quite remember the details of off the top of my head.
It sounds magical.
It was made by a fellow. You can find details on our SteamLUG Twitter. We tweeted about it, but I have the audio track here. There we go. For anyone who's really excited, they can have a listen to that.
I'm really excited.
As far as sort of other community stuff goes, someone created a thread to try and get a list of the things that we might need help with for just SteamLUG in general, which is fun. Inveracity, that's the one. And in that thread, we kind of had a bit of a chat about where some of our bottlenecks are and where we could help, or where we would be helped by having a couple extra people on board if we needed. So if anybody's interested in lending a hand, drop by that and throw some comments in. The SteamDB guys recently revealed that Steam is getting a turn-by-turn notification service. So if you've got a turn-based game that's multiplayer, you can play your turn, close the game, other person gets a notification saying that it's their turn, they fire up the game, have their turn, close the game again, and then you get a notification that it's time to fire up the game and play your turn. There aren't many games that support it at the moment. Actually not 100% sure what any of them are, but it did spark some discussion, and everybody is very excited about trying to bring back Steam Chess.
Yeah, I can't even remember if I ever played it when it worked, because when I got my Steam account in 2004, I think all these Steam chat games were already broken, and eventually they just got removed from the client. So it's bringing back an ancient good of the oldest days of Steam. And you should all support it and retweet it, because it has a hashtag and that makes it legit, as we all know.
There's the hashtag there, bring back Steam Chess. It's been fun. We've had a couple of developers tweeting about it as well, and a few people getting excited. But yeah, it would be neat to have a free-to-play game that supports the turn-by-turn notification thing. Obviously, I think it was around before Steamworks, so it would need redeveloping anyway, and it would make sense to make it support SteamOS, so it'd be an excellent opportunity to redevelop it and put some hats in. For anybody tomorrow who's not interested in No More Room in Hell, the Double Fine Game Club is playing Kentucky Route Zero Act 2, which is a point-and-click adventure exploration type game which supports Linux. We've got Jake Elliott coming along as one of the developers to talk about it. And Act 3 of that game is also very close on the horizon for anybody who's interested in that. So moving on to Steam and Valve news, we had a big bunch of features move out of beta and into stable. Was it last week? Which broke Steam in wine for everybody. It was interesting to see the reaction from the community there. The wine developers were quick to put out an update. I think 1.7.8 is what you need to be able to run Steam in wine again, if you're still having trouble with that. But yeah, so people were without Steam in wine. Did you find that affected you at all, DerRidda?
I do not even play anything in Wine at the moment. I still have my dual boot set up because whenever I want to play a game, I only can play in Windows. I'm usually going to have a session for 1 hour or more, so no use to set up Wine and have poopy performance if I can just bother with the dual boot there.
Yeah, I have to say, usually I go months without launching it in Wine, and usually it's only to play like Portal 2 or something like that. But a couple days before the update came through, a friend of mine gifted me Spelunky. She was quite convincing in getting me to play it. So I got to play 3 or 4 games before Steam stopped working for me.
I haven't used Steam in Wine for ages, and yeah, it's fairly sporadic that I actually do use it. But I've got a couple of games in there that I really love, and I really, really wish would come to Linux, because when I open Steam, I just open, the Steam for Linux and then decide what I'm going to play. And so the games that are in Wine don't even get my attention because they're not on my list,
Yeah.
But I think Critter Crunch really needs to be made for Linux. It really needs to get out there. So can everyone please write letters to the Critter Crunch people and say that we really, really, really want it for Linux?
And that's Capybara Games, I think it is. They're the developers of Sword and Sorcery, which does already support Linux.
It can be done.
I may have nudged them in the past about it and gotten a vague but slightly positive response. So fingers crossed that something will eventually happen on that front. But yeah, people in the chat are listing out a couple of games that they play in Wine or would like to see come to Linux.
Yeah, personally, the games I still play in Windows, it wouldn't even be feasible to get them to run in Wine. Like Red Orchestra 2, for example, I would have to get the really not excellent Unreal Engine 3 performance in Wine and have to get Punkbuster running in Wine. And there's Terraria, which is just not going to happen. I tried for at least 3 hours when the big patch came out, like a couple of months back. And that was not deemed to happen. The universe said no, and I had to submit.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's best to make sure that you're using, whatever is comfortable and usable for you. If you're not having a positive experience, then that's not good for anyone. So a couple of days ago, the Steam Machine official group posted an announcement saying that the 300 selected beta recipients would be contacted, is it yesterday or the day before, and told that they were in. And it was also announced that the beta would only be available to people in the US.
Yeah, when they originally announced that they would be accepting worldwide beta participants, I was really surprised. I thought, really, they thought this one out. They really figured it out. They want to have this go as smoothly as possible. Turns out, no, they were like rose-cheeked, naive children and just thought they could ship it worldwide. And when they tried to figure it out, they figured out, damn, different countries have different import restrictions on electronic devices. Who knew? It's not like there's an industry around it that has been around for years.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, hey?
Yeah.
But I kind of, lots of people are pretty cranky about it. And on some levels, I think, fair enough, because it was announced that it was going to be worldwide. But at the end of the day, we're talking 300 out of how many people ended up joining that group? It was disgustingly large. I mean, nobody had any statistic significance, in terms of their chances of getting access. So nobody has really lost anything.
The internet can get cranky about everything it thought it had any chance of getting ever. That is...
It's true.
That's its job. That's what the internet is there for. It's a forum for cranky people.
No, the internet is for porn.
Man, oh man.
Oh dear. But I guess there is one thing that is kind of lost there, and that means that there are not going to be any beta prototypes on any other continents in any other regions. I think that the coverage that we're going to see is going to be fairly limited in terms of localization.
Do you really think there's so much different going on?
I just, I think it's all probably going to be less pervasive.
Didn't SteamDB already post screenshots with language selections and all that stuff?
Oh, no, I don't mean the operating system itself, but coverage by people who would have received the beta units and people who would be talking about their experiences.
Oh.
So there's going to be no one in Russia talking about their Steambox experiences. There's going to be no one in Europe. There's going to be no one in Asia. No one in presumably South America. Which may not be the end of the world, but it'll be interesting to see how things turn out. So apparently, coinciding with the units shipping, SteamOS itself is meant to be available for download. The announcement didn't seem to highlight whether or not it was going to be a proper release or a beta release, but I'm pretty confident it's going to be some kind of pre-release thing.
Shouldn't it be out by now?
One would think so. It was meant to be today. I think it's well after business hours. Oh, no, it's middle of the day over there, I guess, for them. I haven't been furiously refreshing the page, so but I did check before we started. So unless it's come out in the meantime, we can assume that it's still pending. And it looks like there's a big Dota 2 update on the way as well. I think the test apps had some fairly hefty changes. It also got broken on Linux, I think, but I don't have the specifics on that, so we may move on to general gaming stuff. Mim, what have you been playing lately?
Well, I played the TF2 event thing. I joined in for that. Other than that, really, I've only been playing Faster Than Light, which I only really started to get into recently. I had a little dabble when I got it, but yeah, so I finished the game for the first time yesterday, maybe, or the day before. It was pretty exciting because it was seeming incredibly hard. I was just like, this game is so fun up until the last point, and then it just beats you. It pretends to be your friend, and then it just smacks you around. But yeah, so it is like a really slow learning process. I found for that was just, starting again and just knowing a little bit more every time you got towards the end, So yeah, I don't know if anyone cares, but I've also been playing a bit of Plants vs. Zombies, which I've only just recently discovered. Well, I only just got like an Android phone, so I'm catching up. And The Room. I've been playing The Room on that as well because I accidentally bought the Humble Mobile bundle without realizing that it didn't have like PC equivalent games. So yeah, I actually sort of kind of got an Android phone just so I could play the games and didn't feel so much like an idiot. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
One more question about FTL. Did you finish it on easy or normal?
Oh, easy. Yeah, I only finished it on easy. Yeah.
And only with one ship.
Yeah, just once. First time. Yeah.
That is okay. If you finish first, you can only finish with one ship. But easy, I must now turn my head in disgust.
Oh, give me a break. It's my first. I don't know how many games I played. Maybe a dozen. We'll say I've played a dozen games and it took me that long to work out how to get to the end. I'm so compassionate. I always have to help the distressed people, and then I lose crew members to giant spiders and fires and whatnot. But every time I see a distress signal, I'm like, what would Picard do? I have to help them. And then, yeah, my people suffer for my generosity.
You have to do like Kirk does. First you punch him in the face, then in the belly, and then on the back with both hands.
And do that double-footed kick.
And if they still stand, you go for their neck and gyrate like a crazy person.
The double-fisted punch thing on the back, that's, yeah, very beautiful.
That's what takes him down.
Yes. Yeah. You should play the Star Trek fight music while I play, so I'll remember to be Kirk instead of Picard.
Dun, 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 dun. That was it, wasn't it?
I have an MP3 of that, and GNOME has this thing where if you've got Nautilus up, or actually maybe it's a Nautilus thing, if you hover over an audio file, it'll just play while the mouse cursor's there. I had no idea that this was going on, and I kept putting my mouse over the file without realizing it. It's just suddenly, the Mock Time theme is playing. It's all and every time I moved my mouse to check out what was going on, it stopped. And for about an hour I was back and forth with that. Slightly embarrassing.
Nice.
What about you, DerRidda? What have you been playing lately?
I have been playing the Starbound beta quite a bit.
Woo-hoo!
Though I think I will lay it down a bit to not binge on it and then be bored when the thing is finalized. And there was a character reset anyway. But it is really fun. You are, at least I was, a monkey person with a big hammer that shoots a ball of lightning. I mean, what are games about if not that?
I was a plant person.
And you explore planet and kill the indigenous people. That's video games in a nutshell.
How do you get these hammers that shoot stuff? I mean, I was a plant person. I had a sword that was crap and died lots.
I just found it after killing some native people. You need to kill more native people.
That's my problem. That's it again. I'm Picarding and not Kirking.
Yes, you're doing it wrong. But it's excellent fun. I recommend everybody that has an interest in these games get it. Metroidvania games, that is. If you like Terraria or always looked at Terraria and didn't get to play it because you're a Linux purist, you should totally buy it. The lead developer says he is a Linux guy himself, so every other version is a port. The Linux version is the first version to be compiled.
Oh, neat.
Ooh.
And I played some Neo Scavenger, which now popped up on Steam, and it's still as addicting as I remember it. In case you don't know, it's a survival game in post-apocalyptic Massachusetts. And funnily enough, Detroit is looking better in the post-apocalyptic Massachusetts than it is in today's. That is a sprawling metropolis, and everything else is crap. And you play survivalist, and it's a roguelike basically. You roam the land, scavenge for supplies, trade, fight off monsters, fight off other looters and raiders. And if you die, you're dead. And that's the whole fun of it. It's really simple. It looks more like a board game. It has a hex grid layout. It has no animations whatsoever, but really good writing. I think the lead developer is a former BioWare writer. So there is some serious experience in there, and it shows.
Yeah, nice.
But one warning, it's based on Flash. It works on Linux, but even though it's completely turn-based, the performance can be poop every now and then. But if that is not a hindrance to you, you should really get it.
Yeah, sounds neat.
So what have you been playing, Cheese?
I've had a lot more time to play games than I realized. I've been testing Gear Up. I've been invited to participate in the development branch of that. So I've been reporting some Linux issues and helping identify things and make sure stuff's back on track. I spent, I don't know, it might be 2, maybe 3 hours so far in Shufflepuck Cantina, which is this sort of homage or love letter to the old Shufflepuck Cafe, which was on Amiga and Mac way back when. It might have been late 80s, really early 90s. And this game is it's at once a really nice homage to a classic game, but stands up on its own right and adds a bunch of new stuff. Many hours worth of gameplay in there. Has a couple of issues. Windowed mode doesn't exist, which is kind of sad, and a few other little bits and pieces. I've reached out to the developer and had a chat with them, and a few of those items are on the to-do list / roadmap, so yeah, it's pretty nice. I've had a chance to poke around with particulars, which we might talk about a little bit later. Played some Forced, some TF2 with the event as well. I somehow lost a day to Starbound. I played it once and then looked at my playtime, and it was over 11 hours.
I saw that. I thought, man, he must have gone to bed and leave the game running. Nope.
I did stop and work halfway through, so it was kind of broken up a little bit, but I was quite surprised at how long it had been running. I played some Hammer Watch and Worms Reloaded Nuclear Dawn for the events as well, and I also found some time to play through some more Battle Worlds Chronos, which is pretty sweet. So, as far as newsy type stuff goes, Jagged Alliance, back in action, has a beta test branch for Linux and Mac versions. For anybody who owns that game or is interested in owning that game, that means that support is not far away, and details on how to access the branch is in the thread that we've just posted there in the chat. TeslaGrad is meant to be launched today for everything good, for Windows, Mac, and Linux, I think. I haven't had a chance to follow up on whether or not it's out yet, but it was greenlit some time back, so hopefully we'll see it on Steam in short order. Oh, just getting confirmation now that it is released and people can see it, which is neat. What else has been happening? Humble Bundle stuff. So we've had a couple of weekly sales. The one that's just finished had Knit Underground and Night Sky in it for Linux. And the one that has just launched has Dwarfs and Killing Floor. Is that how you say dwarfs? So you meant to kind of go, dwarfs? It's got all those interrobang implications at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are all these dwarves doing here, like?
Yeah. So there's those two, but we also, the primary bundle that's running at the moment is the new Humble Jumbo Bundle, which is hugely difficult to say after saying Humble Indie Bundle heaps. It's got 3 Linux titles in it, Serious Sam, Natural Selection 2, and Gary's Mod. It's Steam only, if I remember correctly, and currently has, actually, I haven't counted the titles, but I think it's got 8 titles, is that right?
Don't ask me, I haven't looked at it.
9? I think it's 9.
But there's one thing about the weekly sale. It also has Rising Storm, which you might know is pretty much an expansion upon Red Orchestra 2 and gets you at Orchestra 2. And you might remember that there was chances that this might come to Linux. And if you want a friendly nag Tripwire Interactive about it, I have just the thread for you to nag about it.
Ah, good. Post that. We'll add it to the show notes.
Here, go here and ask nicely, but firmly.
Politely. But firmly.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you for saying what I mean.
I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this Humble Jumbo Bundle thing. It feels like it might be destined to take the Humble Indie Bundle's place as the sort of primary Humble Bundle. And if that's the case, the fact that it isn't focusing on those DRM free and cross-platform things is a bit disappointing.
Forgive my ignorance, but what's the jumbo part? Is it just that there are a lot of games?
It's just a new title that they've added to this bundle.
Ah, I see.
I think it's because these aren't indie titles. These are, for the most part, very large and very well-known games.
Yep.
Well, to be fair, most of them are indie titles. NS2 is an indie title. Sanctum, both of them are indie titles. Orcs Must Die, I think, as well.
I thought Orcs Must Die was published.
Gary's Mod definitely is. Yeah, it might be... I don't know if it's more or less published in the way that a book is published. I mean, classic publishing where the publisher just publishes instead of paying for all the development.
Yeah, okay.
But that's, I would still consider mostly independent.
I don't like to recommend that people buy games that don't support Linux, but I have to say Orcs Must Die is heaps of fun.
Yeah, especially 2. If you're in any respect only ever getting one of these games, buy the second one because it has co-op and it has pretty much... It's just flat out better than the first one.
Yeah.
That's another game that I'd play a lot more if it was on Linux. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, another Unreal Engine 3 game. That engine is like the biggest COCK block for Linux gaming.
Is it really UE3? Huh.
Yep.
I had heard rumors a while back that it was getting ported, but I didn't see anything come of that, and that was quite some time ago now. That was before Dungeon Defenders was ported.
But Serious Sam is good.
Yeah, Serious Sam's fun.
So if you're into, that's a one that's on Linux in the bundle. So you've still got 3 days to buy the bundle if you're into it. And yeah, how many people can you have in multiplayer on that? Have we had any events, or can we have any Serious Sam events?
We haven't had one for a while.
We had a couple. Yeah, but it seems like you can fill up the entire max player amount, like for the deathmatch server into co-op. It's at least 24 players, or even 32, I don't know.
Ooh.
But it's a lot, and you can just shove all of these people into the co-op and it becomes an incredible fun mess.
That's already an incredible fun mess. It's beautiful and stupid and amazing. So if you're into it, yeah.
I can't recall. Does it scale up and give you more enemies and stuff when you've got more people?
It might do, at least give them more health or something. And increase the damage. I don't really know.
I can't recall if we have an active SteamLUG Serious Sam server at the moment, but if we do, maybe we should play some of that after the cast.
That would be an idea.
Yes.
Alright. Moving on from Humble Bundle stuff, we have had a bunch of new Linux titles on Steam. I picked out a couple of noteworthy ones that I thought were interesting. Not the Robots is this kind of stealth Katamari hybrid thing where you eat furniture and try not to get caught, which I thought was sort of neat. Haven't had a chance to pick that up yet, but that's been released within the past day, I think. Rust has made its way onto Steam Early Access, which is the newest game from the guys that do Gary's Mod. It's done in Unity, I think, so it's Linux support is there. Last time I heard it was broken, but apparently they're very active with regards to updates. I think someone was saying there's usually an update every 4 hours or so, which is crazy fast. And they're pretty responsive with sorting out Linux issues, which is kind of nice. Did you end up looking any further into Entropy, DerRidda?
No, I'm still waiting. I'm a bit careful with my money at the moment, and I'm not sure if I really want to play it. I have never gotten into any MMO in the last 10 or so years, and I'm really careful, but it still looks interesting from afar. So if anybody knows anything, feel free to say something in chat.
I know it's got a super awful voiceover in the trailer.
Yeah, that was really horrible. I don't know that this would add any kind of value or drama to the trailer.
But, open world, sort of sandbox, sci-fi, fly spaceships MMO is always exciting.
Oh, some people say it's really heavily instanced, so you fly somewhere and it's a small instance with all these players there, which kind of has to be done for a real-time combat MMO if they want to have good responsive combat, because you just don't do it on a large-scale server with lots of people with high latencies.
Particulars, a game that I mentioned a little bit earlier, is on Steam Early Access now. It's a kind of story-driven, arcadey puzzle game, I guess, where you play as an elementary particle that is attracted to or repelled from other elementary particles, and is destroyed by corresponding antiparticles. And it explores the story of a scientist who appears to have some kind of interpersonal problems. And it seems kind of neat so far. I got to check this game out briefly at PAX, and I believe I might have met the lass that does the voice acting of the main character, and talked to her. But yeah, it's kind of neat. Worth having a poke around with if you're into that sort of thing. We already talked about Starbound quite a bit, but that's on Steam Early Access now, which is why everybody's playing it.
Also because it's cute.
My recommendation for people in Europe is buy it on the Humble store instead, because you pay in dollars and you get the soundtrack included, and that means you pay a whole lot less for the same value you would get on Steam for a whole lot more. And you get the Steam key, of course.
Broken Sword 5 has been released, much to a lot of rejoicing from adventure game fans that I've spotted. I haven't had a chance to check it out myself, but that's now up on Steam as well. And Maya is on Steam Early Access. Is that how people pronounce Maya? That's how I pronounce Maya.
That's probably the correct way.
And this is kind of city building type thing, dungeon keeper in space a little bit, by Simon Roth, who's a noted developer. It has chickens. What more could you want?
And cats and dogs and asphyxiation and imps with personal problems. Though a lot of the game isn't in there yet. It's really still just on the verge of going from tech demo to actual playable alpha, but a lot of the game isn't in yet. I would recommend, if you are really wanting to play a game that has a lot of gameplay right now, wait a bit longer. I have backed it, and even I'm waiting because I don't want to play around with the game too much and bore myself before most of the game is actually in there.
There's currently no 32-bit version, and I'm still running a 32-bit OS, which is the only reason that I haven't checked it out yet. But hopefully I'll be upgrading soon, and I'll be poking around with that. But yeah, like from as far as, you know, like you're saying, it's still in development and still moving forward. But I find that because I've been following some of the development updates, I find that a lot of the stuff that they've been working on, a lot of the they feel like they're really pushing the envelope tech-wise, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it can look really gorgeous, and the default setting are already a bit too much for my moderately powerful machine. It's really a tad bit over mid-range, I would consider it, but it is pushing it. And that's good, because we can't all just have these good but, let's say, simple-looking indie games on Linux. We need our graphical powerhouses to show those people we can do it too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice to have, you know, I remember, it's not something I see so much now, but I remember like back when stuff like Morrowind was current. I remember, you know, when it first came out, you know, I had to turn all the settings down, but then later on, as I got new hardware and stuff, I was able to kind of breathe new life into my old games by, you know, having more powerful hardware that was more capable, and you know, unlocking the performance potential and visuals potential of new hardware and the game itself, which is kind of neat.
I remember these experiences, but these days it is, oh, the game is running slow. When I upgrade hardware, it will be much better and I can crank stuff up. And then you buy better hardware, crank stuff up, and realize it's still running like crap because the engine is utter poop or the port is completely useless. Just being cranky for no reason.
So Double Fine announced that they have yet another title in the works at the moment. I think that's 4 concurrent titles that have been announced. I think there may be 1 or 2 others behind the scenes that haven't been announced, but the announcement came with a sort of bunch of puzzles. There's a sort of, I don't know how hidden it is, but there is a download on the official webpage, which is a it's a JPEG, but it's also a zip, and you can unzip that and explore the exciting set of puzzles that they've put in there for people to play around with. The Double Fine community had a bit of fun exploring those within the first day and a half of it being announced. We whizzed through it pretty quick, and the developers were quite impressed with how that had gone. But the game's kind of a sort of roguelike, where you actively kind of hack and interact with elements within the world, which is kind of neat. As I mentioned earlier, I've been testing Gear Up with some of the developers, and the public build now runs on Linux again. It still has some mouse issues, but I think that with it actually being playable again, and people being able to report more detail, that it's actually got more of a chance of being fixed now than it did before. So it's positive forward steps. It's kind of this third-person arena game where everybody's in a tank. As you play, you unlock experience, which you can use to buy different types of tank parts. And so you can go from caterpillar tracks to these kind of crawler legs. You can get like flying hover things as well. Heaps of different weapon types and different chassis options and stuff, which is pretty cool. Now, Apotheon became available for pre-order recently, confirming that it has a Linux version in the works. I believe that Flibbit is providing the porting expertise on this one.
Flibbit is.
Go Flibbit.
But yeah, I've seen this game over a year ago, I think, when Total Biscuit, the renowned YouTuber, did some videos on it from one convention. And it really piqued my interest. I'm normally looking over any kind of platformer that comes out these days because I just had enough of them. But this looks different enough to get my interest.
Stylistically, it's very, very nice looking. And as far as gameplay goes, from what I've seen, it's shaping up to be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think the combat has a special element where you really pick up all the different weapons in the world, and they all handle uniquely instead of just having pretty much the weapon that is you are the sword that jumps around. But instead you get spears and short swords and shields, and you actually pick them up. Correct me if I'm mistaken about that, but that's what I remember from that video a year ago.
So the visuals look like kind of artwork that you'd see on the side of a Grecian urn, which is it's a really neat, kind of very striking look and feel that it's got to it. I am super impressed.
I'm personally not picking up the pre-order, but I keep a close eye on it and wait for reviews. This has a chance of being the first platformer I buy because I want it, not because it's in a bundle in a long time.
Apparently, if you pre-order it at the moment, it's 33% off and includes Capsized, which is their previous game, which Flibbit also ported.
Go Flibbit.
If that's incentive for anyone. But yeah, moving on, Kerbal Space Program is going to get multiplayer, thanks to the efforts of some community modders. They provided a good proof of concept for the developers who were impressed, and I think they added it into an early alpha, and are going to flesh that out into something that's a bit more solid. And yeah, so that's career and sandbox modes that are going to be getting multiplayer support. I'm kind of excited by that. You guys had a chance to play that at all? I don't think you haven't, Mim, do you?
No, I haven't had a go at it. I've seen it. It looks weird. Yeah, the little screaming faces put me off a bit because I imagine that my poor little guys would die a lot.
I don't know how I have justified to not pick it up yet. Me as a physics student, but I somehow managed to dodge it so far. But I don't know why. I kind of want it, but I don't have it yet. That's kind of schizophrenic, but that's how it is at the moment.
No, these things happen. I own it, but I haven't had much of a chance to play it. But what I have played is fun. But yeah, killing Kerbals is totally in the name of science. Killing Kerbals in the name of science is totally the game. You can kill them in so many ways. Sometimes you can get them into space. sometimes you can get them onto other planets.
Sometimes you even get them back.
What? They're so happy and then not happy.
And then static.
And then dead or what?
The trauma.
Right, moving on. I can't recall if we mentioned this in the last cast, but let's mention it again anyway. Faster Than Light is getting an expansion very early next year. It's called FTL Advanced Edition and features a mind control system, a hacking system, new sector and new events, new weapons, new effects, and a whole bunch of other stuff. New enemies, new layouts, new environments, new augments, new drones, new systems. Very exciting.
God, just finished it on easy. I'm not ready for advanced. It's good. I've got a year. Did you say a year or is it early next year?
Early next year.
Alright, I've got a month.
On us covering this now, I just have to drop this specific meme in the chat. It's a Pokemon, you might know it.
I know nothing about Pokemons, but I get it. But yeah, it is a little bit old news, but I'm pretty sure we didn't cover it last fortnight, and yeah, it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, it's definitely good. This is just me in this game will suck me in and spit me out used once more, but I'm all ready for it.
I absolutely love this game. I never feel like I've got enough time to play it. But yeah, moving on to crowdfunding. Hand of Fate, which I mentioned a couple of times, managed to get successfully funded, so that's going to move ahead with development, which is pretty good. Planetary Annihilation has pulled back from their planned release date and are saying that it's going to be released when it's done. You can still get into the early access thingy. It's dropped down a little bit in price, but for people who are holding out for release, this might be a little bit disappointing, but hopefully it won't be too far away.
In other crowdfunding news, Wasteland 2, the beta is now available, but it seems it isn't on Linux yet because I don't have it in Steam. On Linux, just the regular Windows Steam. But people are saying good things across the board. I haven't heard anything bad about it yet, but to be honest, I'm just avoiding every bit of news on this game until it's finished so I can go in a Wasteland 2 virgin and experience it all just for me.
Yeah, it's really hard to stay out of the community and away from spoilers when you're waiting for a game like that. Everyone else is playing it.
Actually, it seems to work out. I have Brian Fargo, the man himself, in my Twitter stream, and I don't know much about what's going on in the game yet.
Well, that's kind of cool.
At least he himself is very good about just doing his duty, hyping the game and tweeting about it, but he is not leaking out anything that would kill my expectations for it, or my immersion, or spoil me in any way.
Very nice. Double Fine have announced, I think, the last of their big voice cast announcements. They have Elijah Wood playing one of the main characters. Will Wheaton is playing a side character, the lumberjack from the tech demo or previous experimentation that they did very early on. His return has been met with mixed reception, but it's kind of neat to see him not being thrown in the bin. That's pretty good. For anybody who is a backer of that, the animators are doing a AMA type thing on the forums, answering a whole bunch of questions, which is worth checking out. Yeah. I think that's about all I got for crowdfunding stuff. Yeah, anybody else seen anything?
Nope.
Cool. In that case, we'll wrap up and call this episode done. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. I think the next cast will be the last cast for the year, and we'll probably spend it playing clips from previous casts and not actually talk ourselves. We won't be here, we'll just have a bot do it for us. Does that sound good?
Nope. Unacceptable.
But no, we might have a bit of a look back. We're probably going to call that the end of Season 1 of SteamLUG Cast. I'm not sure at this stage when we're likely to see Season 2. We'll probably make sure that we've got all our archives out and clean things up so that we're all up to speed before we do that. So yeah, tune in for the next episode and find out more.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye.